Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Okay, it's time for October's 12 month of Christmas cards, and October's card is inspired by one of the Halloween cards I have been working on. And this is Tim Holtz and Sizzix die, and it's Arthur, and the number's 664730, in case you're interested. And I made him using the new Tim Holtz Sparkle Plaid Kraft cardstock that was part of his Halloween 2023 release. And I also picked up the Christmas Plaid Sparkle cardstock, and oh, I love this cardstock. I just love the sparkle and the plaid, and it's all the things. So we're gonna do a Christmassy Arthur. And so I've got him all die cut. I've got a few other die cuts to go along with to make it a little bit more Christmassy. And I'm trying to decide, let's start by creating our background, which we're gonna go, this one's, more gray and spooky, and we're gonna do more of a blue, happy, Christmassy kind of background for this one. And you know what? I forgot to pull out my circle masks because I think I want to do a smaller moon, and then what I'm gonna do is stamp. This is a Lawn Fawn, and I think it's the Winter Village stamp set, that the little Santa and his sled. So I want to stamp that across our moon. So I want to give it greater distance by making the moon smaller than I did on this one. So let me grab what I need for that. All right, so I've got a circle that I die cut out of acetate. And so what I want to do is, got an extra one over here. I want to make my moon yellow, so we're going to use this one first, and I'm just going to use a Post-it note to make sure I don't get ink where I don't want it, because there's a good chance of me doing that. Let's just add a piece up here, because if I get too vigorous and I'm not paying attention with my inking, I might get yellow there. And I'm going to grab some Distressed Oxide in Squeezed Lemonade and just go ahead and create a nice bright yellow moon. Now I'm going to grab the circle that got cut out, use a little temporary adhesive, and cover up the yellow so that when I do my dark blue sky, I don't end up getting green around the moon, because blue and yellow make green. And I'm going to start with a very light blue around the moon, because that's going to give it that like glow effect. And so I'm just going to grab some Tumbled Glass, and I probably should put a piece of scrap paper down. I'm going to just put a scrap piece of paper down so that I don't ink up my work surface. I am going to start on my mask and go off to create our light blue glow. And now I'm going to grab some Mermaid Lagoon, and I'm doing Distress Oxides, and I'm going to go around the edge there. And I'm going to come back in with the Tumbled Glass and get a better blend between the two. The transition section here of the Mermaid Lagoon, oh, I'm struggling with that one, is a bit bigger than I want, because I want to go dark because this is a night sky, but I didn't want to go super dark from the super light. So we're going to now come in with Uncharted Mariner, and I'm going to come back in over the Mermaid Lagoon area. Now I'm going to switch to a bigger brush since we've got a decent amount of ground cover, and go to town. I'm also probably going to pull in some Villainous Potion just to help get a nice dark night sky. I remembered I have these giant brushes that I picked up at Amazon, and I thought I would go ahead and use them. And to keep it from shifting up top with the bigger brush, I needed magnets, so I pulled out my glass mat. Use the smaller brush for any areas that need a little bit more blending. Let's pull in some Villainous Potion, and I'm going to kind of do it in from the bottom and the sides. All right, I'm happy with that, but I want to add some sparkle since it's Christmas. So I've grabbed my new favorite product, which is Distressed Spritz in Uncharted Mariner, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a spritz, and I'm going to hold it fairly high up and just spritz lightly, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. And I want to hit it with heat gun to help it dry a little bit faster. So we're not here all day, but I need to be careful because I don't want to melt my mask, but I don't want to take it off yet because I also want to do some drops of London Fog Mica Stain to give it like a snow effect. For some of those bigger drops, what I'm going to do is grab a cloth and just dry them because I don't need the huge drops of mica or spritz. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our mica spray stain and spray it on a block. And grab a brush, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the mask off. Got a little bit underneath over here, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm gonna hit it with my heat gun just to get everything dry. To fix that, I am just gonna grab a small paintbrush, a little bit of water, and I'm gonna get it wet. Grab a paper towel, which I should have grabbed first. There, it's a little less noticeable. All right, so that's gonna be our base. Now let's go ahead and stamp Santa while we're thinking about it. I'm gonna have him, oh, look at that. That moon's perfect. Let me grab my Misty because I want to make sure I can restamp if need be. Let's stick this in. Put Santa right there. And I'm going to use VersaFine because it's a nice black ink and stamps crisply. And that is what I want here. VersaFine is a pigment ink, which means once it's dry, it is waterproof. But you can't use something like Copic markers with it. And I'm going to stamp just one more time just to get all of the spots. Like it's a little light in a few areas just to make sure we've got a nice clean impression. There we go. I like that. All right, let's clean off that stamp and put it away. All right, now let's bring over our pieces and start assembling. So I've got the branch die cut out and I've got these 4x6 pads of cardstock that I bought I don't know how long ago, and they just have been sitting in my stash for ages and I'm trying to use them up, but they're not solid, so we've got white showing. So I'm just going to take some ink. Actually, I should probably for this one do some scorched timber and ink around the edges just so that white doesn't show, so I don't crunch the pieces. I'm going to just kind of go like this, which will get the sides as well. Whoops, and I'm still crunching the pieces. Right, let's be careful. Whoops, I just broke that off. Need to be a little gentler, and I'm not getting the sides as well. I think I need to stop using this paper for die cutting and do a solid core. Because a solid core cardstock, the color runs throughout the paper, whereas something like this, which is not, you get white when you cut the paper. And then I'll do the other layer with Vintage Photo. All right, let's go ahead and glue these together. I'm not too worried because the branch is gonna be too long, so I can just make the piece that got cut off not be on when we put it on. And I think I might do this one at more of an angle than I did with this guy. So I can just angle it so that we don't have the same issue. All right, this goes on like so. All right, let's glue it down. And there's a little indent in the paper of the bigger piece that kind of helps guide placement when you do the layering. All right, let's set that piece aside for now. And we're gonna work on assembling our owl. And there are a lot of itty bitty pieces, and normally I wouldn't die cut it all and dump it in a thing because it makes it kind of hard with the itty bitty pieces, but hopefully we won't lose anything. But I wanted everything ready to go for assembly on camera. All right, let's see. I think I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So our Arthur may look a little bit different from the thumbnail. That's because I had a recording mishap and didn't actually record the assembly of Arthur, so I went ahead and cut him out again and am going to assemble him on camera for you. One thing I will note with the glitter cardstock, occasionally it does not cut all the way through. Like, it cuts the cardstock part, but it doesn't quite cut all the way through the glitter part because it's a coating painted on the paper. So I just go around it with a pair of scissors and It's less cutting and more just gliding the blade along the edge to get it to cut out all the way. And I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but there are little indentations in him to show you where to put the pieces down. And I'm using my Barely Arts glue because occasionally I have some issues with getting everything lined up properly. And the Barely Arts glue has a little bit more wiggle time than my art glitter glue, but you can use whatever glue you like. Oh, I forgot to punch these out. Let's see. Now I'm probably going to grab some scissors because the coated layer is not going to punch out easily. Where did my scissors go? So I'm just going to cut those bits off. And I'm just using the block to help hold the pieces in place while the glue fully sets. Now on the original one for this video, I cut its die number 6 out of the Plaid cardstock, and I didn't think it had enough contrast. And on the inspiration one, I had cut it out of just an inked cardstock, and I thought that worked better. So for this one, I went with an inked cardstock out of my stash. I also used ink cardstock for his beak and claws and his eyes. I will say it's a little tricky getting the glue to stick on the glitter coated cardstock. Let's assemble his eyes. And this is a quick stick that I'm using. It's got sticky stuff at the one end, which helps with putting on little tiny pieces. So there we go. That's how you assemble Arthur. And now I'll return to the rest of the original video. And what I was doing when I remembered that I was zoomed in was in addition to die cutting the branch out, I die cut leaves out of, it's a Sizzix Tim Holtz set. I don't remember which one, because I wanted to add more greenery. And for these guys, the berries we're gonna put liquid pearls on. So I think that's a good placement for the branch. And we'll just trim off any of the excess from the branch. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue that down. And I'm gonna use my art glitter glue for this. Double check to make sure I put it down far enough. Yes, because I don't want him blocking Santa. And anywhere that I feel it needs a little extra glue, I'll just go in and glue. And then I will go ahead and add in our greenery before we add our owl on. I think I may just snip that bit off. So yeah, I cut this stem out twice and cut it apart, and then this is all one stem. So let's glue that. That's actually, I had some glue ooze, so that's stuck down. He is gonna go like so. So yes, he's gonna cover up some of our berries, but that's all right. I'm not mad at it. I'm just gonna go ahead and, no, I don't want to glue him down yet because I want to put on, he needs a Santa hat. And I think I may also stamp the candy cane. And I'm just trying to decide what color I want the Santa hat to be. I think I might go red because I think I've got some inky paper in sparkly red, and then I'll just stamp the candy cane in red on white cardstock. Let me get that stuff and I'll be right back. All right, so I've pulled out my Misty. I'm gonna grab the Santa hat and stamp it here, I think. And this is just made with Mica Stain. I have my Versamark still out, so we're gonna use that, or for VersaFine. Then I'm gonna take a piece of white scrap paper. That's in the right spot. Not quite. Not quite. Good enough. I'm gonna stamp it again because we want the pom-pom and the fluff to be white. And then I am gonna take my candy cane and some more of that white paper. We're gonna stamp our candy cane using Ladybug Memento ink. And now let's just cut those out real quick. Now here's a tip when you are fussy cutting out with scissors. You want to tip the scissors outward so you can see where you're going. And if you move the paper and not the scissors, it also works a lot easier. Since I'm going to be covering up the pom-pom, I'm just kind of going around it to make sure that I'm not going to have anything showing when I glue the pom-pom bit on. All right, I'm seeing a few spots that are showing white that I don't want to show white. So I'm just going to grab a pen, set this down, come over here because I didn't quite, fussy cut it out perfectly. There. This spot right there. I think that's fine. Okay. And then let's cut out our candy cane. All right, so let's bring him back over. If I stick him here, I'll stick the candy cane through his claw, if I can get it. There we go. Like so. And his Santa hat can go like so. And he can go like that. All right, I like that. Let's go ahead and glue these things down. And I don't think I told you, those stamps came from Crazy Things CMS 237. This goes with the Crazy Birds. And I've got, this is Liquid Pearls in Rouge. And I'm just going to add this to my berries to make them nice and red and give them some dimension. You could also add gems to them or stickles and have them be glittery. You could die cut them out of a different color and cut them out and stick them on is another option. You could do sequins. There are tons of options for making your berries stand out. Now, if you stop squeezing and kind of circle around, that can take off the Hershey Kiss kind of peak. You can also tap it from behind to help get them to flatten down a little bit. All right, I need to set this sucker aside and let it dry completely so that I don't stick a finger in one of these berries, which is something I often do if I don't set it aside where I can't touch it. So I'm gonna do that, and then once it's dry, we will trim off the stuff hanging off the edges, and you'll be able to see a final look at it. Okay, so I'm back, and we are all dry. So gems, give you a good close-up look at Arthur. So now we just need to trim off the excess on either side. There's our October Christmas card. And let's bring over, the inspiration was a card I made for Halloween. And so there we've got our various Plaid authors. I just love how he looks. What's really strange is he looks whiter on that one than he does on the other cards. It's optical illusion. I don't know. Like, he looks like a chunkier owl there than he does on this one. Very strange. All right, so that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.